Two squads come into historic Crew Stadium, desperate to return to the win column. Columbus Crew 2 look to rebound from a shaky start to the season, while New York Red Bulls are coming off of the most goals allowed in league history on Sunday. MLS NEXT Pro is at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. Hello and welcome, I'm Ryan Lee. Thanks for joining us. And for Columbus, it's been rocky but promising. Head coach Federico Higuain said that I'd be more concerned if they lost every game by 3-0, but that's not the case. The Crew have dropped 4 of their last 5, but all of them by 1 goal. For the Red Bulls, an early red card halted all their momentum, leading to a 9-2 loss against Chicago, the most goals allowed in a single game in league history. Interim head coach Michael Bradley said it's a game that taught them how to help the group, and there's nothing better than to have another game on a quick turnaround. In Columbus, we make our way to the 3-4-3 for Federico Higuain. Although they've struggled to get goals, Chase Adams has about a third of them. Rincon and Elliott have scored 2 of the last 4 Crew goals in the midfield, joined by Sai and Alloway, their top playmaker. Captain Chris Rogers took 2 yellow cards against Toronto, so that allows Ferdinand to step in for his first match since April. Luke Pruder starts for the 8th straight game, but still only 1 win to his name that came back in June. As for Michael Bradley and the New York Red Bulls, they are sticking with many of the same starters as their game against Chicago. Mitchell scored a brace on Sunday. It's his second start since tearing his ACL 15 months ago. Jair Colahuaso got a red card against Chicago that really put things at a standstill for the Bulls on Sunday. That makes way for Schwartz to get his 10th start as Serrata returns from injury himself. Austin Causey only has 1 start with the New York Red Bulls. That was back in June. Today is his 2nd start and his 3rd appearance with the New York Red Bulls. We make our way towards the pitch, where it is 2 opposite ends of the table in the East. The New York Red Bulls remain the top dog in the Eastern Conference, tied with Philadelphia Union at 39 points. I'm sure they had a huge sigh of relief last night after Philly could not get the job done in High Point against Carolina Core, so they remain tied with Philadelphia at the top of the table. As for the Columbus Crew, they struggled to get out of their own way early on. They really struggled to get goals, but the fact that they have 5 consecutive 1-goal games is something that Federico Higuain said was promising about his squad, something that allows their young guys to experience this level of football. Trust and time are very important to the process, as the next step is against the top dog in the Eastern Conference. Columbus start off with the ball in the yellow, left to right they begin, as the New York Red Bulls, all red, right to left. They begin as we are at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. As a quick giveaway, Adu Jamfi centering in front, but cannot get the touch on was Bombly. Only 15 seconds in, Columbus were hot off of the block, as this allows Austin Causey to send out the first goal kick of the match. And just when it looked like all was maybe gonna continue snowballing for the New York Red Bulls, they were able to escape after a bit of a heavy touch by Bombly. And that was kind of a bit of the tale for New York on Sunday against Chicago. Not only was it a historic loss, but also it was one where they just kind of had a lot of things go against them very early. They had a red card taken in the opening quarter hour, and they had a lot of issues that really continued to escalate as Columbus's attack is halted by the offside. Michael Bradley said they just got away, the game just got away from us very early in a lot of ways. It was just one of those days where things just continued to avalanche against the team as the game continued to progress. And it was a great learning experience. It's a new way to challenge the guys, and one of the greatest remedies to a loss like the one they suffered on Sunday, where they allowed the most goals in MLS NEXT Pro history with 9. Getting a game in quick succession allows for a fast turnaround to get back to play ASAP, to get back into the right set of the win-loss column. And they most certainly have been able to do that. 11 wins, the most in the Eastern Conference, as this one is served centrally by Morales but blocked off. Bombly looking to escape Benedetti, but cannot keep it in play. for Columbus Crew. It's been a lot of struggles since starting off match week 1 with the youngest roster of all of MLS Next Pro. They've had to really work through the process as we have an offside, one on both ends, one against Columbus, and now the next against Mahir Jimenez. Jimenez, he can fly in that front line. He did so very successfully against NYCFC a couple of weeks back. Not only getting the hat trick against NYC, but he ended up being the youngest player in Red Bulls 2 history to do so at 18 years, 114 days old at the time of the last win they had against NYCFC about a week and a half ago. And now it's Columbus's chance to come across, but Gutierrez cuts it off. Juggling, Alloway, centering, Adu Giamfi. Wanted to lay it for Elliott. Rincon splits it. Bombley with a try, but it's slowly towards Austin Causey. Something we don't really see very much of is some of those dangerous opportunities for Columbus Crew 2. They are at the bottom of the league in terms of both shots attempted and shots on target. It is something that they have been struggling to do, and because of it, Columbus has been a team that probably across all of MLS Next Pro has struggled the heaviest in terms of getting the ball in the back of the net and trying to face the top offensive unit across the entire league. Most certainly can be a task that Federico Higuain said that it's an amazing opportunity to have to face a team that does a lot of things better than we do, and they're excited to show how competitive they can be across the game as Bombley is open in space. Bombley's all alone, one-on-one with Causey. He makes the stop. Couple of huge saves made by Austin Causey in the opening 5 minutes as Rincon recovers. Sai. Sai retreating into the midfield as Columbus continue the cycle. Out wide, Elliott to serve, and it's cut off by Steven Serwada. However, it would go for the opening corner going to Columbus. This is one of the dangers of Kevin Bombley, despite the fact that he's still looking for his first goal contribution with the Crew. He has had opportunities like that where he can threaten just with that speed and his ability to find open lanes. He was able to do so to force that first save on Austin Causey, who's already had to make a couple in that opening 5 minutes. Now they have to look out for a corner. Served in, headed down, takes a deflection, it's still loose. Top of the box, whistle against Columbus. They are offside again. It was that one-on-one with Ibra Sai and Austin Causey as they were up in each other's face, but that will provide New York with a little bit of breathing room, something that they will need very much of in a 73-degree day here in Columbus. Cloudy day, but no precipitation expected. But there is a pretty good wind, 13 miles per hour, that is right to left on your screen. Columbus looked to escape their own end as Rincon and Ferdinand just look for an escape route. That's Gutierrez battling with Chase Adams. Ferdinand, the center back for today's game for Columbus Crew 2, after their usual captain, Chris Rogers, took 2 yellow cards against Toronto over the weekend. His 16 matches on the season and 52 in MLS Next Pro play will be missed, but It's a chance for Ferdinand to come in about 2.5 weeks from his 22nd birthday from Montreal, as he makes his first appearance since April. Bombley back and forth, continuing to cross, but nothing goes. That's already the third time that Columbus have been offside. Something that Columbus does not do very much of is get behind the defensive line. It's been one of those offensive hiccups that Federico Higuain has had to deal with, especially because they just haven't been able to maximize some of their opportunities. They've dealt with good chunk of improvement throughout the season, but they've been in the same spot at the table for pretty much all season, and that's probably the most discomforting part of Federico Higuain's unit. He has to look out. Andy Rojas works the near side. Rojas cuts across with a shot and scores! It's Rojas' return to the score sheet. His second goal of the season and the first for the Bulls. What an individual effort from Andy Rojas. This is his first goal since match week 1 against Atlanta. Able to curl it through into the top right corner for the Costa Rican international who played at the Gold Cup, returns to New York Red Bulls, continues to be a consistent starter, and he just hasn't had that same goal-scoring touch that he was brought in for early on in the year. He only had an assist that was in May. Since match week 1, he gets back onto the score sheet today in match week 21 as he opens the scoring for New York. It was the first goal of the season. That was in match week 1 against Atlanta United. That was a 1-0 win in the 70th minute, where Rojas made his introduction to New York. And not only the return onto the score sheet, but an opportunity to maybe get things right for Michael Bradley's unit. Michael Bradley, by the way, turns 38 today, so happy birthday to him, an early gift, but how about the 3 points over the next 80 minutes? Prestas on the far side, Randazzo in the near on the 3-back unit for Federico Higuain, as this will be launched by Luke Pruder. We mentioned their usual captain, Rogers, on the red card suspension that allows Luke Pruder to take over the captain's armband for today. Has started in 8 consecutive games ever since he became the regular starter in June. For Luke Pruder, he hasn't necessarily gotten off on the best start in terms of the win-loss record, but he has kept Columbus in a lot of games. Some of them, they probably had no business being in those respective games, but Pruder making a lot of clutch saves when needed. It's an opportunity for Columbus as the long ball's held on. Attempted cross, Gutierrez in the way, but out of play. A steal by New York. Rojas alone again after Randazzo takes a spill. Rojas, edge of the area, crosses in. The header is caught by Pruder. This is a nice countering attack for New York, just trying to maximize some of the turnovers, something that Columbus has had a lot of issue with throughout the season. And then you have the elevation made by Rold Mitchell. It's kept on by Nahum Benedetti. Jimenez wanted to bump it for Mitchell, but it comes back for Jimenez. Brooklyn Schwartz and Juan Gutierrez, the two center backs, as Jair Colahuaso got a red card against Chicago in the 14th minute. As Rojas is free again, but he is in front of Columbus's D. So right around this time on Sunday, Jair Colahuaso took a red card against Chicago. It was a handball in the area trying to play goalkeeper essentially, as Aiden Stokes took a spill on a 1v1 with the player of the week, Jason Shukaluk. As it's a change for Jimenez. Benedetti back for Mitchell. Mitchell, Jimenez. And a whole bunch of yellow in the way. And once that Colahuaso penalty was given to Chicago, that didn't just put New York a man down, that eventually would set up a PK that put them 2 goals down. And trying to play the remainder of 75 minutes, give or take. A man down and 2 goals down. It was just a recipe for disaster for New York. But they have rebounded well on a 9th minute goal by Andy Rojas on the helper by Aiden Jarvis. Gets the steal, reverses for New York. Jarvis to Rojas. Mehmeti, today's captain for New York, lays it back for Schwartz. Serwada has missed the last little bit due to a facial injury. He's back in the lineup in his usual wing-back spot as the drive from deep is interrupted. Falls for Adams. And wanted to give Adu Giamfi a lane. Morales, nice drive for Rojas. He's got a step on Elliott. Rojas works on Elliott. Crossing, centering, another chance, and off the line. Jimenez, it's free, drops down. Mitchell a swipe, but a partial flub goes out of play. New York is causing all sorts of havoc in the area for Columbus. You had Benedetti free, and the beautiful overhead kick save made by Owen Prestis to keep this game at 1-0 as Rold Mitchell essentially foul balled that last volley to give Columbus a goal kick. Stolen away by New York again, and Columbus eventually clear. Lower mortgage rate, it's that simple. Finance your home at lower.com. A nice slip by Morales. Morales has been a regular starter since missing the first 3 months of the season due to a knee injury. The Chilean has been a regular in the lineup ever since. He's been so impactful for New York, especially on that left back spot where it was a bit of a revolving door for those first couple of months when he was out until he returned in May, where he's kind of reclaimed his spot. New York can advance, Columbus around Elliott. Holloway with Sy. A lot of Columbus having to kind of retreat back with New York clogging a lot of the passing lanes. Holloway cut centrally. Holloway harassed, triple teamed, and he got bodied, but it will be enough to draw a Columbus free kick after he was met by Brooklyn Schwarz. Holloway, not a lot of space that New York is conceding, but when you have just Brooklyn Schwarz being an absolute wall at 6'4" for the 20-year-old, only in his 10th start in his first season. Trying to utilize some of that frame, but it will concede a free kick outside of the area. Austin Causey directing traffic. Prestis and Rincon stand over with Elliott. It's Prestis and Rincon. Nico Rincon, Owen Prestis. It is Prestis, and it's held off by Causey. A line drive by Owen Prestis, the right footer, and Causey able to get all of the frame on that one. Only one start in the 2025 season for Austin Causey. He has made 2 appearances, however. Last time out, it was on June 21st in Carolina against the Core, where he was subbed in for 55 minutes after Aiden Stokes only played a little over half an hour. However, only one start to his name. That was against Crown Legacy in Matthews, where the Red Bulls will take that win 5-2. That was to start the month. Stokes had started 7 straight after that, but with the Leagues Cup finally making its way to New Jersey, we could be seeing a lot more of Austin Causey in Next Pro play over the next several weeks. We've already seen many of Columbus's players take the Leagues Cup stage to open the tournament a couple days back. A chance to maybe get some MLS minutes, or even just to look on with Carlos Coronel taking the way. That's TBD for the Red Bulls, as their top unit will play Chivas later today to continue Leagues Cup action. Both coaches not really sweating the potential unavailability of first-team guys. Both Coach Bradley and Higuain very much favoring some of their younger development products. Chucked in, too short for Jimenez. Mehmeti advances straight to Pruder. Rincon escapes to Prestis. And a delayed whistle as well, as Our head official, William Hale in the blue, decides to have a little conference call with Rincon and Mehmeti. The remainder of our officiating crew, Eric Wood, Donald Williams, the 2 assistants, and Race Williams, the 4th official, standing at the bottom as we take a look at that last encounter with Rincon and Mehmeti. Just a bit of a reach out. A little bit of extras, nothing too crazy there, but we haven't seen too many fouls called by our officiating crew, just a couple of offsides to speak of. As Adu Giamfi spins for Elliott. Adu Giamfi back to Elliott. Elliott stuck on Morales. Randazzo's back. Almost stolen by Mitchell, held on by the crew. Elliott's alone. Want to find Randazzo, back to Elliott, comes across, and a block made by Jarvis, but a corner to Columbus. A nice individual effort here by Quinton Elliott, who has been finding a little bit of that goal-scoring touch that he doesn't necessarily have, especially because of how important he was to the Indiana Hoosiers for the 1 year he was there as a second-team All-American last year. He stands short as Rincon is ready to serve the second Columbus corner. Rincon to elevate, punched out by Causey. Out of play, back-to-back corners. This is Austin Causey, maybe using some of that experience he's had in the pro ranks, spending the last 2 seasons with Lexington in USL League One, and spending the 2 years prior to that with the Richmond Kickers, where he was a part of a regular season title run with the Kickers in 2022, and the first 2 years in Lexington history between 23 and 24. He's got side draped all over him, as this will be served by Elliott this time. Lofted by Elliott, and whistle against Columbus. They just have this log jam in the box, and it doesn't help when you have 3 yellow jerseys all over the lone green in the box. Nationwide is the official insurance partner of the Columbus Crew. That went off of the bicep of Adu Giamfi, so that puts things to a screeching halt. Columbus Crew 2, 1 win in the last 9. New York Red Bulls, points in 9 of the last 11. Columbus 21 match weeks in, bottom of the Eastern Conference, while New York still sit at number 1, but they're not alone, as Philadelphia Union looks on carefully, both tied at 39 points in first place in the East. However, for Philly Union too, a lot of those points came from results in penalties. And for New York, they've done all of their work within the regulation 90. A lot of Phillies work done by shutting things down defensively, not giving away top position. And for New York, they've been able to score at will at times. This is launched again, but Prestes intervenes. As we mentioned in the open, Columbus Crew 2, despite being at the bottom of the table, a lot of promise for Federico Higuain's unit, just talking about how they want to put a lot of their young guys in this level of football, being able to gather experience, and how that time and trust is very important to the process of developing these guys into the players that they can be. And if they were losing games by multiple goals on the regular, Coach Higuain said they'd be much more concerned than he is now, because they have their last 5 games all by a 1-goal margin. However, of those 5 games, only the 1 win against Carolina Core to end June, and 4 consecutive losses in July. Currently down on the final day of July. Push forward. Adu Giamfi, end-to-end all the way. Adams is calling. And a block by Sirwada. Nice takeaway by Benedetti. Jimenez was on a 1v1, and he'll win the whistle. Take a look at that last foul by Jimenez, and he just got a little bit leaned on by Keyshawn Ferdinand. That put his momentum down to ground. It was a historic day that New York had to deal with on Sunday, tying the MLS Next Pro record for most goals allowed in a game, something that was only done one other time in 2022, where Columbus Crew would put up 9 against FC Cincinnati. That was Columbus's run to the double in 2022, and that actually had some detrimental effects on at least the statistical output of the New York Red Bulls defense. They were middle of the pack, 11th most goals scored. Now they have the 3rd most goals allowed. And it also put a huge drop in their goal differential as well, being a top 5 team in that unit, dropping down to a top 10 team in that department. From +13 to a +6. However, this is an experience that Michael Bradley and this Red Bulls 2 are trying to learn from, especially trying to manage with the little time they've had on a short week. Not just a chance to understand for the group, but also himself as an interim head coach, saying that he personally was trying to learn how to understand, to rally the group in that circumstance. Not only trying to change the mentality quick into the next game, but also what even to say at halftime, and how to deal with everything in the locker room in the days that followed. But Aiden Jarvis and Andy Rojas definitely put things maybe on the front foot for the Red Bulls, as they've been up a goal since the 9th. A lot of Adu Giamfi and Quentin Elliott working on that near side. Both Adu Giamfi and Quentin Elliott got both goals against Atlanta United in a 3-2 loss, and they've been just searching to find goals in different places as Sirwada cuts off Alloway. Elliott to cross. Sirwada disrupts. Presta steps in. Benedetti and Sirwada combine to attempt setting up Jimenez as he spills. The official healthcare provider and fan of the Columbus Crew, Ohio Health, believe in we. Sirwada slithers through as Mehmeti attempted to drive it back to Rojas. Bombly back to Adu Giamfi, returns for Bombly. He takes a tumble as he had the ball in space, and that will be the first yellow card coming out of our lead official, William Hale's pocket. Pointed at Gutierrez. This is a nice little move by Bombly. He saw Gutierrez pursuing and just pushed the ball forward and proceeded to drop against the center back Gutierrez, playing in his 60th match, who is still recovering from a thigh injury that he sustained at the beginning of the month. But we've already seen one free kick attempted straight at Austin Causey. This one much further than the previous one. As mentioned before, Columbus having to deal with a 13-mile-per-hour wind in their face for this half. Rincon and Elliott steps over for two. Rincon curls, headed, blocked by Gutierrez and cleared. Bombly with a try, and it's held off by Causey. Columbus Crew have been getting a good number of opportunities. However, a lot of them have been relatively far from the penalty area, from that outer edge. Not really threatening very much closer to the 6. As it's driven forward, Jimenez is alone. Jimenez 1v1. Jimenez, wide angle, and right to Pruder. One of the hiccups with having a speedster like Mahir Jimenez, it can be difficult to maybe stop or wait for the reinforcements, as you had a defender like Ferdinand one-on-one who has not played with the second team in 3 months, but has been a regular in the lineup when he was, as this one rolls to Causey the other way. Jarvis and Benedetti forward for New York. Ten minutes remain in the first half. Gutierrez. Morales. A nice chip towards Aiden Jarvis. He's got a chance. Centering attempt. Can't connect to Morales, but it will be a New York throw. Morales. Benedetti interrupted by Ferdinand. Adu Giamfri, and it's Chase Adams all alone. Adams 1v2, awaits help. Back for Adu Giamfi. Centering feed, but Sirwada's first, and a takedown by Sai. Ibra Sai, the one joining the book, as he just tackled Sirwada. However, wrong type of tackle, wrong type of football, as Sirwada and Sai. Sirwada was most certainly the first one there, as Sai got the arm hook on Sirwada.
A yellow card has been assessed to Columbus number 33, Ibra Sai, his first of the match.
Sirwada, the Ugandan international. He made his debut with the Ugandan international team back in March in a game against Tajikistan, and has been a regular with the New York Red Bulls since joining the club back when they were still in the USL Championship back in 2021. Today is his 60th appearance in a Red Bulls 2 kit. 18 of those have been this year, with a couple of games missed due to a facial injury, as that was rocketed end-to-end for Rojas. Rojas cuts across, ruled Mitchell, and Alloway was in the way. Last clip Sirwada for a Columbus throw. Jarvis out of range for Rojas. Bit of friendly fires. Gutierrez knocked into his own man Jarvis, and we might be seeing some head injuries, as both guys, Jarvis and Gutierrez, are clutching at their faces. You had friendly fire there between Aiden Jarvis and Juan Gutierrez. Jarvis was the one who got the turnover, tried to reverse things back to Schwartz, and just a little bit of unintentional friendly fire. We saw Michael Bradley receive the 6th substitution on Sunday after dealing with some injury business up in Chicago. Maybe a similar story in back-to-back weeks as we take a closer look at Federico Higuain and the Columbus Crew bench. Has not quite been the best of runs for Federico Higuain. Currently only 3-11-3 across the first 17 matches of this 2025 season, and they're in a bit of an unusual position, Columbus, because they've made the playoffs every single year they've been in MLS Next Pro across 2022 to 2024, but not just making the playoffs, they made it at the very least to the conference finals weekend. Lost in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, went to the finals in both 2022 and 23, winning it all in the inaugural MLS Next Pro season where they won the double. And this might be the first year in the short history of Columbus Crew 2 where they not only are going to be out of conference final weekend, but likely out of the postseason as a whole, considering how they have to essentially double their point output to catch up to Crown Legacy, Cincinnati, and Orlando, who currently occupy that 7 to 9 range at 26 points. Columbus half of that mark at 13. And it looks like we might be seeing an injury substitution due to concussion. That looks like what the officials gesturing. Already lost a starting center back, our New York, with Jair Colahuaso serving red card suspension after a handball inside of the box against Columbus last week. And when you have 2 guys going down, could we maybe see some, even a brief 11v9? New York Red Bulls on the other end, they are pretty much clear of the playoff line by 13 points. We mentioned they're tied for the top slot with Philadelphia Union, but 4 teams are chasing both Philly and New York for that #1 seed. Columbus, New England, and Chattanooga all 6 points behind that twosome, while Huntsville is 7 points back. So you have basically 2.5 games to make up for Huntsville, and a 2-point gap between Chattanooga, New England, and Chicago, where they might be fighting for home playoff matches between that 3 to 5 range. So after all that's said and done, both Jarvis and Gutierrez returned to the match. No injury substitution needed, as Gutierrez using the header right after the injury substitution to clear the ball out of play. Elliott chopped down. Gutierrez already on a yellow. And just like that, he's got another. That's another early red card against the New York Red Bulls. Already suspended is Cole Huaso. Now their other center back, Juan Gutierrez, takes his second yellow. Just a little late as he got contact on Elliott after the ball was lost. So for the second consecutive game, Michael Bradley and the New York Red Bulls will be down a man for at minimum a half. Into the corner, Elliott centers, punched out by Causey. Sawada shoots it down. So between Sunday and today, the Red Bulls are going to spend a total of 122 of 180 minutes down a player. It took 14 minutes on Sunday and 44 minutes today, as this one's squared centrally. Nothing goes for Columbus. Rojas trying to get loose, but does win the throw. Just for reference, those 2 red cards come after taking none through the first 19 match days, as it is going to be Jimenez who goes down, but only a foul. 5 extra minutes on the board. We're already through 1. And that time it was Ferdinand who came in. New York a man down, a goal up, a chance to make it 2 with Morales and Rojas. It is Rojas. Drive it low, can't connect to Morales. The deep ball is held on by Sawada, as the second clearance finds Mitchell. Turn and go, rolled Mitchell. Attempted cross blocked. Adri Mametti for Morales. Morales bounces to Pruder. Rincon splits out Holloway. 3 minutes through of 5 is deflected towards the center, kept in by Elliott. Elliott jostling with Morales, and it will be called against Columbus. As you just have that little bit of a scrap with Elliott and Morales. Michael Bradley is really focused on his short head coaching career, just trying to get the right pieces together, just trying to put the puzzle into place, especially with some of the tutelage he had under his father Bob, assisting him last year overseas, as Columbus are back on the attack again. Setting up Holloway, centering feed is right to the hands of Austin Causey. Kevin Bombley has been able to use his speed to really find those open areas, and Holloway was involved in the mix as well, as he and Chase Adams, had it not been for Causey, could have connected. That whistle is given against Mehmeti, even though he did get the ball out. And Mehmeti will take the yellow as well. So after about 20 minutes of just a few whistles here and there, nothing really crazy, we've seen 4 yellow cards in the final 10 minutes of the half. 2 of them have gone to Juan Gutierrez. Now the latest one goes to Audrey Mehmeti. We are in minute 50 of 50 in the first half. Coach Higuain directing Rincon and Elliott. This is likely the end of the half. Rincon to take. Headed towards Causey, wide, and no whistle yet, because it's a corner for Columbus. 4th of the half. Rincon the corner. Elevated, top of the area, over, out of play, and end of half 1. New York will be a man down for the second set of 45, but they get the beneficiary of Andy Rojas opening the scoring at 1-0. MLS All-Star Week started with goalie wars, and we finish off match week 20 of the Next Pro Invitational as we look back with this episode of The Report.
From beautiful sunny Austin, Texas, where MLS Next Pro has seen its biggest impact yet on the MLS All-Star stage. This is the latest edition of The Report. I'm Michelle Montaigne alongside April Marie Aguilar. And April Marie, the biggest stars in all of North America have descended here in Austin, Texas for the 2025 MLS All-Star Game, where the 2025 MLS All-Stars face off against the best players from Liga MX.
That's right, Michelle. And for Major League Soccer's 30th season, its developmental league has had more of an influence than ever, with the record 4 MLS Next Pro alumni named to the All-Star roster. The 2025 MLS All-Star Game lit up Q2 Stadium in Austin as the MLS All-Stars took down Liga MX with a 3-1 win in front of over 20,000 fans. MLS Next Pro alumni Alex Freeman, Diego Luna, and Max Arston all made their MLS All-Star debuts in the second half. We caught up with Alex Freeman to get his thoughts on his All-Star debut.
Oh, I feel like, we had a very nice crowd, very nice facility. I feel like it's something that, I got to be grateful for. Being able to pitch in an All-Star game, represent Orlando, something I dreamed of. Obviously I didn't expect it to happen so quick, but I'm very excited, very grateful, like I said. But yeah, good to be able to step in front with a lot of experienced players, so very happy.
It's been quite a year for these MLS Next Pro alumni. Diego Luna and Max Arfston have already matched their career highs for goals at the midway point of the season. And Alex Freeman has had a breakout year with 4 goals for Orlando City SC. Patrick Ajamang was named to the All-Stars team, but a week before the game, he was transferred to Derby County of the English Championship. He leaves as the second highest goal scorer in Charlotte FC history. It started as an unconventional competition at the 2001 MLS All-Star Game. And since then, it's become a fan favorite and a staple of All-Star.
This is the 3rd straight year that MLS Next Pro goalkeepers have competed in Goalie Wars at the MLS All-Star Skills Challenge presented by AT&T. This year, 4 new goalkeepers are competing and vying for this custom-made championship belt. The night began with the semifinal showdown between Houston Dynamo 2's Pedro Cruz and Toronto FC 2's Adisa de Rosario. Cruz wasted no time setting the tone, and it was a Dynamo dose domination from the get-go. Pedro Cruz would go on to win by 5-1 to move on to the final. On the other side of the bracket, Orlando City B's Carlos Mercado took on Chattanooga FC's Eldin Jakupovic. It was the Orlando keeper who broke the deadlock and sealed his victory in dramatic fashion, scoring the bonus 2-point ball at the buzzer to clinch his spot in the final. So, after a well-earned break, it was Cruz and Mercado vying for the champion belt. Their match ended up being a nail-biter, but it was the Brazilian goalkeeper that came out on top, winning a close final by 4-3.
Yo estoy muy contento con la conquista de hoy, una conquista que yo quería mucho, una conquista muy importante para mí y para mi carrera. Para yo llegar aquí, yo pasé por muchas cosas, yo no pasé por dificultades, pero pasé por grandes aprobaciones de Dios, entonces tienes que seguir firme, tienes que trabajar, porque si tú trabajas, tú vas a llegar. Entonces, es contento.
So, the belt is staying in the Lone Star State. Congratulations to Pedro Cruz on becoming the 3rd Goalie Wars champion since its return, joining Isaac Walker in 2023 and Chituru Odunze just last year.
Kenzie puts it in, and the touch on the far side in the opening goal. Eisenberg comes out wide now. He floats this one and deflected. Second chance, and it's off the keeper.
And it's definitely settled a little bit. There's another great ball through.
And the opportunity, and it's popped over and in. 1v1 opportunity here for the East. In on goal, and we've got an equalizer. Sullivan steps up, and he slots it home. Gavin Sullivan puts it in the back of the net. The MLS Next MVP and Golden Boot winner. He puts it in the back of the net and seals the victory for the Eastern Conference.
At this time last year, Gavin Sullivan was the MVP of the MLS Next All-Star Game. Since then, he's gone on to history in Major League Soccer. On July 5th, he became the 2nd youngest player ever to start a game.
Yeah, and he really is just a perfect example of how the MLS Next All-Star Game showcases both potential and performance. In fact, of the 44 players selected to this year's All-Star rosters, over half of them either signed a homegrown deal or appeared in MLS Next Pro at some point. The 4th annual MLS Next All-Star Game was a thriller, won by the East All-Stars 4-3. After going into halftime tied at 1, both teams traded goals in the second half, with Prince 4-4 of Columbus Crew 2 putting home a rebound to give the East a 3-2 lead in the 76th minute. Later in the 83rd, Tyler Brown of Vancouver Whitecaps FC2 beat the onrushing goalkeeper to a through ball and walked it in to equalize. The deciding goal came just 2 minutes later on a penalty kick by Philadelphia Union 2's Jameer Johnson. And the king of the All-Star game was Prince Forfor, who took home the MVP honors.
I mean, I'm really happy right now. I'll say a big shout out to the East team. I think we played really well together. We followed and trusted and did the work, was able to come out with the victory.
And then what does that say just about your teammates and the trust that they have in you to go out there and perform the way that you do?
I mean, it's quite amazing, because these guys we met a couple of days ago, and, it seemed like we really bonded really well and was able to have that great chemistry, so it was great.
And what can we expect from you here and on forward?
I'll say I'll just keep pushing myself, try to break into Crew 2, get more minutes, and just keep pushing myself to the next level.
About 65% of former MLS Next All-Stars have signed professional contracts. Here are some of the more than 30 former All-Stars who have gone on to compete in MLS Next Pro and then Major League Soccer just this season, completing the player pathway. Before we move on to the second half of the season, here's the top goals of the first half.
So now Kidd to McKenna. Wow! What a banger! Gabriel McKenna with a masterful shot. Out of nothing. Gabriel McKenna picks his head up. Canetti. Nziengo. Glory Nziengo. Wow! Oh! Glory Nziengo with the goal. And that breaks the deadlock. Pulled behind it. Sarver sends it in. Ball is there. Oh my! An absolute golazo! 1 goal lead. Spectacular.
Colin Welsh getting the start in goal today for St. Louis City 2. His 5th start of 2025 for the rookie out of Western Michigan. Hernandez has a hit from distance. Are you serious? Saw the keeper off his line. Welsh hovering around the top of the 18.
Joyner shoots. Whoa! Makai Joyner is out of his mind. Off this first ball, Joyner takes 1 touch, and with Burns off his line, that's just enough space for a spectacular shot.
This weekend marks the 4th annual MLS Next Pro Invitational and the second matchup between champion and campeón. Last year, 2023 MLS Next Pro champions Austin FC2 defeated Liga Expansión MX champions Cancun FC, becoming the first Next Pro team to beat a team from Mexico. Defending MLS Next Pro champions North Texas SC will look to follow in Austin FC2's footsteps when they take on Club Deportivo Tapatío from Liga Expansión MX. You can catch it all Saturday, July 26 at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central on MLSNextPro.com. Here's what else we're looking forward to. Sunday, October 5th is Decision Day, a full slate of games to determine playoff positioning on the last day of the regular season. That's followed by the 3rd annual Pick Your Opponent, which will determine the playoff matchups for the first 2 rounds. The playoffs themselves, well, those start the weekend of October 17th, culminating with the MLS Next Pro Cup on the weekend of November 7th.
Well, there is still a lot more soccer to be played between now and then, and there was certainly a lot of fun had all throughout the MLS All-Star Week festivities, especially at Goalie Wars.
That's right, Michelle. Let me tell you, it was my first All-Star Week, and it was a memorable one.
I remember my first time, and I'm glad it
was so much fun. I'm glad you got to experience it here in my home state of Texas. She felt that Lone Star State hospitality. That will do it, though, for us for this episode of The Report.
That's right. Be sure to tune into the next episode for the latest around MLS Next Pro. We'll catch you guys next time. Adios. They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that in fact is true, my friends, as North Texas SC walks away with the MLS Next Pro Invitational Trophy. I'm April Marie Aguilar. North Texas SC started off hot with Pedrinho scoring a brace in the first 25 minutes of the match. Tapatio responded with a golazo, taking us into the half 2-1. But the match didn't end there. Why? Because in the second half, Tariq Scott iced the game with the third goal for North Texas, securing the Invitational Trophy. We had the opportunity to catch up with the MVP, Pedrinho, after the game.
I work for this. I come to play for this. I was playing for first team and some things happened. But I asked if I can play this game because I love play final. And that's it, my work done.
It's a privilege to play against Chivas' second team, Tapatio. It's great for our players, our young players, to continue to grow and show that, you know, America's not afraid of anybody anymore. We can fight, we can compete, we can play, and it's really important for us to play these games. So thanks so much to MLS Next Pro for putting this game on, and obviously congratulations to Tapatio for winning their championship in Mexico. But I think we showed tonight we were the better team.
It's not just about who wears the armband, it's about 11 guys on the field, coming off the bench, whoever it may be. So I'm a leader, but so is everyone else, you know? I'm just fortunate enough to wear the armband.
All right, well, that does it for this year's MLS Next Pro Invitational. I'm April Marie Aguilar. We'll catch you guys next time. Adios.
Back here for halftime highlights at historic Crew Stadium, where New York Red Bulls have the 1-0 advantage, but Columbus have been getting great opportunities of their own. This was early on in the game where Kevin Bombley was one-on-one with Austin Causey, who got the stop before that could fall between the legs. And then an absolute beauty from Andy Rojas, cuts across and just curls it into the corner, top right, for his second goal this season, his first since match week 1 back on March 17th. And this was another opportunity as Benedetti wanted to go wide, but the clearance by Owen Prestis on the goal line, desperation dive to keep the game at 1-0. And this was the second yellow card taken by Juan Gutierrez. That's the second red card that New York has taken in back-to-back weeks. And it has kind of ballooned things for New York because they had those issues with Chicago, a man down. Who knows how things go with a Columbus Crew team who has struggled to find goals in their own right. They've also struggled to find chances all season, but against New York, they have been very successful, all things considered, with 4 corners, 4 shots on target, 8 total shooting attempts, and have even gone behind the defense a couple times with those trio of offsides. But it's going to be an interesting story for the second half as New York will be a man down. One game on hand for Friday. You will hear us and our crew go to Minnesota, where that is an interesting Western Conference race to the top 8 between Minnesota and Houston. New England want to stay in the top 4, as do Chattanooga. Huntsville are within the mix with Crown Legacy, and you also see the remainder of the slate. And keep an eye on Philly versus Cincinnati on Sunday. Cincinnati are 8 unbeaten. Philadelphia are tied with New York as of now for the #1 overall seed. Results pending for tonight. We flip ends of the pitch. New York Red Bulls with a red card will be down 11-10 for the remainder of this match. They had no send-offs at all through 20 match weeks. It took them until Sunday to get their first red card of the season. This is now Reds in back-to-back. However, 2 very different circumstances. The straight red on Sunday, a double yellow by Juan Gutierrez today in only 44 minutes will put them at 10 men for the second set of 45. New York are in the red, left to right. They attack for the second half. Columbus, all yellow, right to left for the second set of 45. We remain with the same 21 players that started off in the opening kickoff as we start the second half here at Historic Crew Stadium. As Ryan Lee and our entire MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us here at Historic Crew Stadium, where it is the best of the East versus the team looking to claw their way out of the bottom, where they are only 5 points above Inter Miami 2 at the 14th seed, possibly on pace to have their first ever season outside of conference final weekend, let alone the playoffs entirely for Columbus, and for the New York Red Bulls trying to advance in the #1 overall seed in the East, with Philadelphia Union taking the loss last night in High Point against Carolina Core. That was a late game thriller as well between the Core and the Union, as it's going to be a turnaround try for Mitchell as he's bodied down and wins the whistle. Two of the most historic franchises in MLS history, the Columbus Crew and New York Red Bulls. They have played 85 combined matches on the MLS side here at Historic Crew Stadium. However, the slight edge in that head-to-head goes to Columbus, but in the head-to-head in MLS Next Pro play, the edge has gone to the New York Red Bulls, as the attempted keep-in is out of play, and this will go to New York. New York didn't get a single corner in the first half, so this is the first of the game, as it will be taken by Marcelo Morales. Morales, low driver, it's deflected in! The service from Morales, and the finisher gets behind Pruder. Down one man, 2 goes up for New York. What a corner for New York. You have that log jam inside of the 6, and it looks like that might have contacted Aiden Jarvis last. He got an assist on the original Rojas goal, gets a goal of his own, and New York up 2, down 1. And what a way to start the second half for the Red Bulls. They came out of the first half flying, scoring in the first 9 minutes, and open up the second half, opening in the first 2.5. It is Aiden Jarvis that puts him at a goal and an assist in today's match. That puts him at 2 in his MLS Next Pro career. Both of them came this season for the Antigua and Barbuda International at the U20 level. Morales wants to set up Rojas, but overshoots. Driven wide Holloway. Can't get around Serwata, as he will get the deflection on Holloway to win New York a throw. '48th minute goal for Aiden Jarvis after a 9th minute assist, setting up Andy Rojas for the opener. Off of Holloway again for another New York throw. Benedetti controls, splits to Morales. Attempted nutmeg on Elliott, recovered by Benedetti, as no one in red can control Columbus coming off of 4 straight losses. However, the last 5 have been 1-goal games, which in a way has been representative of their season. They've been so close on so many opportunities, but just so far as well. Haven't been able to be as efficient as Frederick Higuain wants to, but Alloway may turn the tide as he's harassed by Roald Mitchell and will win a Columbus Crew free kick. We just had Mitchell charging in, and maybe it was that little extended arm out that got the wobble on Alloway. But Columbus have had good free kicks, generally speaking. However, Austin Causey has been able to sniff them out. Elliott and Rincon again. This time it is Elliott. Back post is cleared. Roald Mitchell drew the foul, cleared out the free kick, but Columbus still control. A nice give and go as it's centrally from Ferdinand, but nothing more. Press this for Elliott. Alloway and Rincon retreat. Ibrasai. Prestis for Alloway, back to Prestis. All Mehmeti does is be a speed bump at the max. And one of those minor things that we've been keeping track of is the overall wind. It's actually picked up a few MPHs, but it is going towards Columbus on their back, so they might have a somewhat easier time trying to gain momentum into the New York end, especially not just with the beneficiary of the wind, but the man up as well as Bombley comes across, blocked off. Mehmeti, corner Columbus. This is Columbus's first corner of the half. As we take a quick look here and just able to get around Sawada, then Bombley going down, which does draw the 5th corner of the match to Columbus, their first of the half. And Bombley, he's been able to blaze off that left side of the formation for Columbus. Just nothing has really come from it. Elliott, Rincon. Elliott to serve. Morales has to be careful as Adams operates that far side. Mitchell helps out. Alloway, Sai loads up and off the post and in! Ibra Sai with his first goal goes bar in, and Columbus puts the deficit in half. What a bar in banger from Ibra Sai. It looked like it was gonna go wide, but a beautiful bounce off of the pipe and in to give Columbus Crew some life, as they have a goal back, utilizing the man up. And Ibra Sai with the response off of the Jarvis corner, and now Red Bulls' lead is back to 1. Can Columbus do something again? Deep try, too far for Elliott. on Gutierrez, suffering his second yellow card in the 44th, 10 minutes after getting his first. New York Red Bulls have been a man down, and they will be for the entire second half. And that came after getting a red card in the opening 15 minutes on Sunday in Chicago. Down the wing, press this, can't get around Mitchell. Schwartz elevates Gutierrez. Wanted a foul, no whistle. Scoops it, Holloway, it's Sawada instead. Powering life's most important moments, American Electric Power. Rojas had to react to that and couldn't get the read. Adu Giamfi for Elliott. Adu Giamfi. Sai. Switches sides, Holloway. Holloway was credited with the assist on the Sai goal. And Bombley can't keep in. That was just scuffed by Schwartz. Sai, Holloway, Crew looking for the equalizer. Rincon. Columbus looks for a room. Centrally, Ibra Sai gets around, takes another try, and that time Causey does get the hands on. And he'll slow things down as Columbus are upping the pressure as Ibra Sai, another try from outside the area. However, that one is not going to go bar in as Austin Causey will hang on as Columbus, especially with the extra attacker on the pitch, they've racked up about 60% of the possession as we approach the 60th. Arguably the most surprising thing is that both teams have exactly 5 shots on target. Just skims over Mitchell. Holloway with room. Holloway centrally, Mehmeti deflected wide, Columbus corner. Holloway, Randazzo. Columbus just using the possession game as this one is scooped into the area. Headed out by Mitchell. Still up for grabs, Adams. Sai. Ferdinand and Columbus looking for room. New York congesting the lanes. Randazzo. Sawada sticks the leg out. just been seeing some of the issues that New York have had to deal with because they've been down. And this will give way for another free kick to Columbus. It's been Elliott and Rincon all game. Rincon scored the lone goal in their 2-1 loss against Toronto. It was also a Goal of the Week nomination. Quinton Elliott got 1 of 2 against Atlanta United in their 3-2 loss. So 2 guys who have scored recently. 2 of the last 4 goals have come from either Elliott or Rincon. This time it is Rincon, and it's right to Causey, who makes the read. Rincon, he's been able to pick out those top corners, including the last time out against Toronto. 2 goal contributions in the last 3 for Rincon, the 19-year-old Colombian. Driven forward towards Bombley, disrupted by Sawada. Benedetti just behind Jimenez, but New York will keep going on the throw-in as you have Palacios and Gio DeLibra warming up next to the 4th official. This time, free kick New York as Jimenez gets dropped. Jimenez trying to get free as he was getting harassed by Rincon, enough to take a spill, a bit of a heel clip. Benedetti to take. Benedetti, service, right to Pruder. Federico Higuain looks like he will be the first to break from his initial 11. As he is Gio DeLibra and Malcolm Palacio standing alongside the 4th official. Sai Aduchiamfi. Return to Elliott. Flipped out of play by Jarvis. And this might be the opportunity for the substitution, and that will be the opportunity for the first set of changes. So Brent Adugiamfi, he is going to leave the match as Gio DeLibra, the 19-year-old in his 4th season. He spent some time with the first team last year in the CONCACAF Champions Cup a year ago. And then Malcolm Palacios, 21 22-year-old Colombian who is on his first season with Columbus after being on loan with the Colombian side Independiente Medellin. He got the first goal a couple weeks back versus Huntsville. That was the only goal Columbus would score in that match. So maybe a little bit of size coming up for Palacios at 6'4", and a little bit of first team experience with the fourth-year DeLibra, 53 matches in his Next Pro career. Centering for Rincon. Rojas rips it away. And Rojas tries to get it down as Jimenez was almost free as Pruder comes all the way to the center circle from his box. Rojas misplayed the attempted strip on Randazzo. Federico Higuain praising his team for just utilizing the time, the mindset of trying to compete every chance they've had, as you have a Red Bull down in the box and some medical attention coming from the sideline. We saw this in the last injury timeout in the first half as well. It gave an opportunity for Federico Higuain to maybe change some things up with some of his leadership, as Brooklyn Schwarz was the one who went down. Schwarz, the German native, having to be the lone center back in what has now become a three-back for Michael Bradley. We saw this in the last game as well, as Aiden Jarvis, he got involved in that second goal and the first goal as well, having to play as a pseudo-back, as a defensive midfielder for the 18-year-old academy product Jarvis. And that has maybe pushed Michael Bradley to maybe shift some things up on the fly. Hasn't deviated from his starting 11, now 10. And didn't really get to that point as much last time either. He did make a sub right at the half last time out, and he made several of his subs right around this point in the last game, but a lot of that was due to trying to get guys minutes in a game that was more or less already out of reach. And New York Red Bulls already down a defender, with Juan Gutierrez taking the second yellow card just shy of the half. And then you have your other starting center back, Brooklyn Schwarz, getting some medical attention, where they've both also been dealing with head-related contact in this game specifically. Nothing lingering from the past, just from trying to be aggressive on those jump balls, trying to win balls, especially in some dangerous spots, including that last chance by Schwarz. It was at the corner of the area. Our center official in the blue, William Hale, instructing New York to maybe do an evaluation on Schwarz. New York have already dealt with that earlier. It's the second consecutive road game for New York in 4 days before they get a week and a half off, where they get to go back to Montclair State University before having what is most likely going to be a game for first place in the East against Philadelphia Union. That's going to come August 11th. So temporarily, New York will play 11v9 with Schwarz getting looked at for concussion. So this will be Palacios serving up top. Serwada the strip. Harassed by Prestes as they win the ball back. press this. Wanting to send to the box. Bombly controls a juggle and out of play. Schwarz is back in play, but he'll have to defend another Columbus corner. This will be their 7th. They've been looking for Kevin Bombly all game long. He just hasn't been able to get any goal contributions to his name. And with the corner, this will allow Christian Ortiz to enter the match, as Kevin Bombly, that last opportunity that forced the corner, will be his final act of the match. Ortiz, the 18-year-old, a part of the Dominican Republic's international squad, will enter for Kevin Bombly in the 71st minute. Deep service, headed out by New York. Second try by Alloway is skyward. Columbus have not really made a lot of their corners so far. 7 cracks at the corners, but nothing real threatening. They've been squandering some of those opportunities, some of them on fouls offensively in the penalty area. You saw that last try by Alloway go all the way up into the stratosphere. Vertiv is the official data center equipment provider of the Columbus Crew. Eric Wood, Donald Williams assisting the way for William Hale, and Race Williams, the 4th official. Columbus are back on. Less than 20 minutes remain in regulation. Side got the deficit to 1. Side. Gives it back. It's interrupted by Jarvis, and Morales will just take a wild sweep out of play. Now we have a New York player down again. This time it's Marcelo Morales. And this is a straight red for Columbus. Chase Adams got a straight red, and we will play the final 16 minutes, 10v10. So Chase Adams, he's been the leading goal scorer for Columbus since joining the Crew in 2022 from the academy side. The USA Youth International gets sent off on a straight red. And New York, crazy to say, they have life to not only maintain their lead, but maybe slam the door shut. As you see Morales and Adams on the left side of your screen, it was the swipe from behind that hit Morales in a very sensitive area, for lack of a better term. And because of that retaliation, Adams is done. 15 minutes remain, 10v10. How can this game flip a switch? We saw the second half. Yes, New York had that corner kick goal, but it's been all Columbus's second half for the first 30 minutes of it. Now for the final 15 in regulation, 10v10 is a whole new ball game as it's held on by Rold Mitchell. Jimenez settles, can't escape Sai. Rincon a pivot, a nice steal by Jarvis. Benedetti, top 10 in the MLS Next Pro, both in goals and assists. For Receives it back from Mehmeti. Deep try for Rojas, but it will be Elliott. He misplays it out of play, and he just gifted New York a second corner of the match. Columbus, by the way, have not had a red card all season. Now they find themselves 10 on 10. Rojas with the service. Into the area, too high for Mitchell, out of play. Performance Columbus family of dealerships, proud partner of the Columbus Crew. Columbus's wins, by the way, have been against some of the top tier teams in MLS Next Pro. Have a chance to maybe take a tie against New York so far as Rincon strips it back. Press this on the pivot. Lofts it, Elliott. DeLibra. Rincon. Press to center, deflection goes wide, and that might have been a saving deflection by the New York defense, as Causey might have gone the wrong way on that. Way to get into it, Steven Serwada. What a return to play he's had since returning from a jaw injury that took him out a couple of matches. And Columbus is 4 corners per half. Served in, up in the air, and out. But another corner for Columbus. Columbus have been able to get opportunities from the corners. They just haven't been able to maximize, as Roald Mitchell, the Montclair, New Jersey native, was the one to get the head on. This time it's short for Rincon. Elliott and Alloway miscommunication. Full steam ahead for Steven Serwada. Way to catch up Quinton Elliott, but he still has to fight through as New York will reclaim. Jarvis, too far for Rojas. Before we were interrupted by the last offensive sequence, you take a look at some of Columbus's wins, and they are capable of beating some of those teams in the upper echelon of MLS Next Pro. Got a win back in April against Chattanooga FC, and then took a win in the end of August against Carolina Core, who are fighting for their playoff lives. And FC Cincinnati was another W they took midway through May, and heck is plausible for a Cincinnati team that has found a resurgence since starting off the season in the bottom seed of the Eastern Conference, a spot that Columbus now occupies. But because of some of those games where they've been able to push other teams to the brink, Federico Higuain has previously stated that he knows that this team is capable of beating anyone. It's just about staying consistent and being able to match that intensity game in and game out, and getting the results to fall our way because of our efforts. It has been the case in the second half. They do benefit from having the man up for those opening 30 minutes of the half. However, 10v10, we've seen a little more of the wings come back from New York. That red card was a cold one that was cracked open by Columbus. Alloway centers, out from Jarvis, corner for the Crew. Up top, Alloway. Centers. Out of range, and it's a free break from New York. Benedetti double teamed and stolen away by Alloway. Nice pursuit by Rincon and Holloway to stop Benedetti in his tracks, especially for the guy who's been leading the way on offensive production for the Bulls. Can the Crew respond in the final 10? Ibrasai chips it Holloway. Michael Bradley still sticking with the same 10 he started with 10 minutes remaining. New York up by 1. The go-ahead from Aiden Jarvis on a corner. Delivered to Elliott. Double team by the Bulls, and stepping in is Rendazzo to maintain possession, but not for long as Mehmeti is there first. So a couple of subs are upcoming for both sides. We start off with Dennis Nelic coming in for Nahir Jimenez. Then you have Curtis Ofori coming in for Andy Rojas. For Ofori, he typically plays left back for the forward Rojas. So that's a defensive move by Michael Bradley to send the defender in for a forward, maybe trying to maintain that lead. And then you have Alex Gimbel, who's standing alongside as well, who will be replacing Quinton Elliott, who has been a force to be reckoned with in this game in the final 8 minutes. Gimbel, 16 years old, only making 7 appearances across his first season. Dennis Nelic, he has come off the bench consistently for the academy product, and for Curtis Ofori, he's been with this team since their USL days, but the 19-year-old has continued to be a consistent producer in the New York Red Bulls organization. And those were also the first 2 subs taken by Michael Bradley. As Columbus look to break free, trying to find a lane is DeLibra. Rincon harassed by Ofori from behind, and this will be a Columbus throw. Keep in mind, Curtis Ofori typically plays on the wing back. He replaced a wing on the forward with Andy Rojas coming out. So that now puts the Red Bulls with 4 defenders again with Aiden Jarvis. He's been a pseudo defender as a defensive midfielder ever since Juan Gutierrez was sent off in the 44th for a second yellow. Sai. Trying to escape Nelic. Has to be a little careful as Palacios is at the center circle. Now Holloway. Prestis, he's flipped ends. He's gone from the near side to the far. Tried to get the pass off. It's Adri Mehmeti. As that could not be collected. Dennis Nelic, only the game for 2.5 minutes, trying to fight off Palacios, sub on sub. And Palacios could not control that inside the line, so that gifted New York another corner. That is the second time of 3 that New York has just been gifted a corner by Columbus off of a miscue. This last one by Malcolm Palacios, he just tried to keep it off the line, but just a little late with the official standing right in front of him. The last couple corners, you just saw a whole riot of players inside the 6. Morales, low drive, took a deflection, cleared by Columbus. Alive for Jarvis. Couldn't split wide for Morales again, but Jarvis continues to fight through. Holloway's got a man. It's Christian Ortiz, but Benedetti back to defend. Nelic. Nelic a goal on the season already, trying to skate past Palacios, but Palacios a step ahead. Final 5 minutes in regulation, now 4. Columbus, 4 games straight with a loss, all by a goal. New York looking to shake off a historic 9-2 loss against the Chicago Fire on Sunday. Holloway gets around Sirwada, trying to set up his man, and it can't connect to Gimbel. But Columbus continues possession on the throw. Randazzo. Rincon. Wanted to rainbow it toward the side, but it's Nelic on the head. Holloway. Back to center, Palacios. How much time is truly left in this game with the substitutions? You had a concussion substitution check and the red card by Chase Adams. How big a stoppage? Can Holloway tie it before? Holloway to center, takes deflection, blocked in front. Second try, side denied by Mehmeti. Captained by Gimbel. Mehmeti can't get around DeLibra in the second try, unable to clear as Ofori. Ofori denies the cross as he tries to set up Mitchell. Back to Columbus. Sai. DeLibra back to Sai. 2 minutes remain of 90. And that split the 2 men in front, Sai and Rincon, but it will fall back to Columbus. Randazzo. DeLibra. Owen Prestes harassed by Ofori, and we will have a pause in play for some fresh bodies coming to the pitch. It is 2 for Michael Bradley, Matthew Dos Santos, and Nate Worth, as we have Nahun Benedetti and Steven Sirwada exiting the match. Worth comes in for Benedetti. Dos Santos will be the exchange for Sirwada. Dos Santos scored a beauty of a free kick game-winning goal here at historic Crew Stadium back in May for the Academy product, and Nate Worth has spent the last 2 years in the USL Championship, coming off the bench again for Michael Bradley. Sai to center, Palacios. Holloway, Nelic in his face. Ibra Sai. Final minute of 90. Driven forward, does it catch Holloway? Too far. It's a goal kick for Austin Causey, and he is in no rush. 6 minutes of extra time coming up. of the 3 games that New York has been here at historic Crew Stadium in MLS Next Pro play, this is the first of 4 games where they have allowed a goal. 3 clean sheets, 3 wins across those first 3. How does the 4th road match for New York in Columbus go? They're up 1. We're through 40 seconds of 6 added minutes. Palacios, nice twirl away from Mitchell, tries to go long for Alloway, out of reach. Mitchell around Palacios, a bit of clutching and grabbing, and they'll actually give Columbus the ball back. Delibra on the wing, taking down Ofori. Rincon recovers, Morales all over him. Crew chuck it in. Nico Rincon. Ofori in front, curls it around, the headers towards goal and wide. Nice attempt made by Christian Ortiz, but cannot come between the pipes. And Austin Causey will take his sweet time getting the goal kick out, as he was body for body with Matthew Dos Santos, just could not escape. Ortiz, a pair of goals on the 2025 season, his first one since being on loan with the Tampa Bay Rowdies of the USL Championship. Last time he scored was midway through June in a tie game, 1-1 against NYCFC. Final 3.5 minutes for Columbus to force this game to 2 apiece. Austin Causey has been 6 of 7 to this point, and those continuous deep tries, they have hurt Red Bulls when they connect. And that's a big win. They just haven't connected as of late. Almost given away by Benedetti as Schwarz and Causey work together. Luke Pruder connects. Driven forward, Daliba's free, wide angle, Causey denies. Out of play, corner Columbus. 3.5 minutes of 6. Delibra had a wide open lane. It looks like New York was ready to give it to him because of the angle, but Causey had to be up for the save. Into the box, punched out by Causey, still loose in the area and poked out. Ofori. No whistle, New York will throw. Probably one of the most nervous birthdays Michael Bradley has had, turning 38 today. 8 matches as the interim for Red Bulls 2. Alloway to toss, Randazzo. 1.5 minutes. 2-1 New York lead ever since the 48th minute on the header by Avon Jarvis, the current go-ahead. Alloway dances back for Palacios. And that may have been more or less a deliberate foul for New York to stop the flow of play, but Columbus are quick. Delibra. Press this. Oh, when Prestes cuts across, he's harassed. Beautifully blocked by Mehmeti. He's free. Mehmeti brings forward Morales. 3-on-4 are New York. Morales to center. Mitchell can't get there. Pruder was first. And Pruder might be joining the attack any minute now. Alloway. Final 30 seconds for Columbus. DeLibra goes deep. And nothing comes. The Red Bulls remain atop of the East. Hang on, a man down to win a goal up. And New York come to Columbus, take the 3 points, and win in historic Crew Stadium by a final score of 2-1. A wonderful performance all the way around, but Austin Causey giving congratulations to Aiden Jarvis, who is our man of the match. He set up Andy Rojas to get the opening goal in the 9th minute, and Rojas getting a beautiful goal in his own right. But Jarvis, the 18-year-old from New York City, also getting the header 3 minutes into the second half. Had 3 goal contributions on the season going into today, gets 1 assist, 1 goal today to put New York on top. And that corner kick goal was too much for Columbus to attempt a comeback. New York Red Bulls sit atop of the Eastern Conference alone. They have a huge matchup 10 days from now against Philadelphia Union, most likely for the right to remain on top. Don't forget to watch MLS Next Pro all season long on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Final score in Columbus: the Crew with 2, the Crew with 1, the Red Bulls win with 2. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Ryan Lee. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.